Welcome, everyone, to the Chill Like a Mother podcast. Hear this so much from my clients and so many conversations on social media. How can I stop? When will it end? Is this just my life now? Anxiety, burnout, overwhelm, overstimulation. And so for people who are looking for strategies that you can use, maybe on your own even, are creating a link between the mind-body connection, starting to be aware of those body signals. When are they happening? Is it around a particular person, a season, a time? And maybe Kelsey, you have some ideas for this too. Sitting in some quiet awareness. We are inundated with scrolling and online. And so that mind-body awareness comes from stillness, which can feel very uncomfortable for someone who has known or unknown trauma or distress or nervous system disruption, or neurodivergence. Even like sitting in quiet can be really challenging. But it is one of the ways that we can listen to and hear, and even if it's just a whisper, of that inner knowing, that subconscious mind.
I love that. My advice, or if people ask, what can I do at home? It's exactly what you said. It's eliminating distractions first and foremost. And that's essentially what we're doing in a hypnosis session. We're just eliminating
Yes.
distractions because
Yes.
really, how often are we distraction free? 100% distraction free?
Yeah.
It's not often.
No.
And so when you can become distraction free, your subconscious mind and your body are like, okay, she's finally listening to us. We don't have to scream at the top of our lungs and give her a panic attack. We can just, because this is what panic attack is. It's just anxiety
Yes.
screaming at you because
Very
you've ignored
loud.
it for too long. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just, it's like a toddler. If a toddler's like, hey, mom, and you're not listening, it's like, mom, it's a panic attack. It's an angry toddler. And the second part I would say about that is then start to take some nice deep breaths and notice where you are feeling a sensation in the body, those body signals. So
Mhm.
is your in your stomach? Are you feeling those butterflies, those knots? Do you have a heavy chest? Are you feeling shaky? Do you have a headache? And then say, what do I need right now in this moment?
Mm.
Because typically there's a need not
There's a
being
need
met,
for sure.
right? And so what is that need? Sometimes it can be really simple. It can be, I need a glass of water, or
Mhm.
I need to just sit here and breathe for 5 minutes, or, whatever. I need to go outside for some fresh air, you know? And then you can even take it one step further. Once you feel more comfortable with assessing this, you can say, when have I felt this before? This is how you can
Mm.
start to dive back into your own healing.
Mhm.
Where have I felt this before? And something usually just pops into your head as a thought. And then you're like, oh, that's strange. But then explore that. Like, I always just tell my clients, get really curious. Be as curious
Curious.
as you possibly can about your body and memories or sensations. Just
Mhm.
get curious. Oh, that's really interesting. And we're not judging, right? We're not trying to
Without the
judge or shame.
criticism.
Yes.
Yes.
We're just curious and asking questions as a neutral party. Oh, that's
Yeah.
very interesting that I feel that way. What could I do for myself that would help this?
Mhm.
You know? And it's just, yeah, getting really curious with things, and it's interesting what would come up.
It really is. And I second that about the distraction-free interruption, not being interrupted, and just like dedicated time for you. Um, in what I facilitate for moms, there can be messaging around like, this feels so frivolous. I'm paying you to come here and do art when I could do art at my kitchen table. Like I could facilitate this for myself. And often what I say to that is, but would you?
Hmm.
Right? Like, you're committed to come here because you're committed to another human being. And that's the reason why I go to therapy or schedule massages or go to Reiki or whatever, because I know that I need to schedule it in because I am real shitty at sitting down and doing it for myself. And there's something about the being witnessed in the process, right? So you're guiding people through this. You're actually creating the container. You're creating the container for that healing. The person themselves is doing the actual healing, the work of it, right? It's their subconscious, it's their messaging, it's their rewiring, and you're creating the container. And when I'm having consults with people, that's how I like to describe it, is that like you could do this on your own, right? Like I could give you the resources and the books and the podcasts and all the things you can consume, to create change, but it's really powerful to be witnessed by somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always say it's like there's a couple roads that you can get to your healing. This one
Yes.
might be a bit bumpier and a little slower, and there might be a detour. And then finding someone who really aligns with you and who can hold a container, it's kind of like the bypass, you get to like fast track. And not that it's easy or,
Oh, no, it
it's
doesn't
a
make it
little bit,
easier. Yeah.
it's just that we've been through some things and we have the tools and the resources and the capacity to hold that container so things can be a little quicker. And so you
Mhm.
can get there on your own, but it's nice to have someone as well too. And so
Mhm.
I think the important part there is everybody has the ability to heal themselves. Like you have the answers within you. I don't have the answers for you. You're
No.
not coming to me for answers, like you said. You have all the answers within you, and you have the capacity and the ability to heal no matter what,
Mhm.
even if you don't feel like it right now.
Yes. And even if
You
that
do.
feels super woo, right? Like
Yeah.
I get it. It feels super woo.
Yeah.
And even as a educated person, even when I say things like inner child or healing or the road to recovery or, whatever metaphor or cliche thing that happens to
Yes.
come out of my mouth. I mean, they're cliches for a reason, right?
Yes.
Like they, when someone holds intentional, brave space in a container for you to explore the deepest, the darkest, the most ignored or the numbed parts of yourself, when you reach the capacity of being able to do that, amazing things can happen. And
Yeah.
sometimes it does take that rock bottom for some people, that, like you said, that like motivation or the willingness to do something. It doesn't always happen all that naturally. And
Yeah.
so, when do people start being active? Sometimes after they've had a heart attack. When do they stop eating bacon 6 times a week? When their doctor says,
Never. No,
oh,
just
ever.
kidding.
No, I'm
Never. You never
never.
stop eating bacon.
But there's often some kind of inciting incident for
Mhm.
people. And for me, when I had perinatal OCD but didn't know it, if without that experience, without the horrendousness and the arduousness of that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't have come full circle and found meaning in providing that space now for other people. And you mentioned that at the beginning of the episode around like COVID forced me. It forced my hand a little bit, like I'd heard rumblings of it. I felt it in my body. I knew that something wasn't aligned. There's often an inciting incident that will make our feet firmly planted on that path and the ability to go forward. And those situations are never easy because the inciting incident is often something very challenging or very hard or actually completely detrimental or absolutely obscene if it's something that has happened to you from somebody else. Um, and so if you're going to take away what you need to from this episode. But what I'm going to take away is that healing, the rejuvenation narrative, that healing is possible for everyone and that people are the experts in their own lives and they don't need help. They need to be held. Thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with us today. I'm going to have all of Kelsey's links in the show notes. If you'd like to get in touch with her, that's where you can facilitate that connection. And I really look forward to any of your feedback or aha moments. I'd love the aha moments when you email me or message me on social media. I love hearing kind of your takeaways. So if you have anything to share with us, we'd love to hear it. And we will you'll hear us, me, in the next episode.